Flashbulbs pop, the carpet is rolled out, and at sisterhoodsleuths.net, the guest list is as exclusive as the rewards. Early release books signed by Cathy Warshaw herself, VIP behind-the-scenes access, collector's merch drops, and private updates you won't find anywhere else. Welcome to the Sisterhood Sleuths podcast, where today's feature is a front-row interview with the mastermind behind the series. Cathy Warshaw, the visionary who started her author journey at 73, is here to pull back the curtain on how she blends empowerment, adventure, and emotional truth into a universe that doesn't stop at the page. It sings, it plays, and it inspires.
You know, it's interesting. Sometimes the most profound insights, the things that really stick with you, they don't always come from like ancient texts or these grand historical accounts. Often you find them in the words of someone who's just bravely, honestly building their own world.
Yeah.
You know, one story, one experience at a time. And that's pretty much where we're headed today on the deep dive. We had this really fascinating chance to dig into a recent interview with author Cathy Warshaw. And what we found, well, goes way beyond just a standard Q&A. It's this rich tapestry, not just about writing, but about purpose, resilience. I mean, just living a visionary kind of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mission today really is to get past just the surface answers she gave. We want to peel back the layers a bit, try and genuinely uncover the brilliance, the depth, the art and the philosophy that's all woven into Cathy Warshaw's approach. We'll look at how she builds her stories, how she tries to empower young people through her work, and, well, what it really means to lead a life so dedicated to creativity and making an impact.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We really have to start with Cathy Warshaw's favorite line from her book, The Obsidian Eye. It's a good one. She says, "The truth isn't just buried in the past. It's protected by those brave enough to find it." And she feels that really captures the heart of her Sisterhood Sleuths series. What hits you first about that?
Well, what strikes me immediately is how it reframes truth itself. It's not just this static thing waiting under a rock somewhere. It's presented as something dynamic, something maybe even vulnerable that needs active, guardianship.
Guardianship, I like that.
Yeah. And this whole idea of truth protection, it connects to these huge, timeless themes, right? It goes beyond just history facts or solving a simple whodunit. It speaks to the active, almost moral role we play in uncovering, interpreting, and crucially preserving important insights, whether that's in science, history, or just our own understanding. It suggests knowledge isn't static. It takes, a conscious, brave effort to keep it whole, especially in what she calls a complicated world.
Right. And for her characters, it's not about fame or glory. She makes a point that they're digging into these ancient mysteries because for them, truth itself matters, like above all else, even when it's dangerous. So that brings up these core themes: courage, legacy, and I think maybe most interestingly, this idea that young people can be the protectors of truth. Is that like an optimistic view or more pragmatic?
Good question. I think it's probably both. It's optimistic, definitely, in its faith in young people's capacity for courage and moral conviction. But it's also pragmatic because it acknowledges that truth is often fought over. It takes real work to uphold it. For her Sisterhood Sleuths, this belief isn't just some catchphrase. It actually shapes their adventures, It gives their quests real meaning beyond just finding the next clue. It's kind of like a call to action wrapped up in a thriller, showing young readers that their choices, their actions, they actually matter.
Totally. And building right on that, Warshaw says her greatest strength as an author is her knack for weaving empowerment into adventure. So she's not just telling exciting stories, she's actively trying to equip young readers with life lessons through all the suspense and mystery. How hard is that, though, to weave in those deeper lessons without it feeling, heavy-handed or preachy? Especially for teens and young adults.
Oh, it's definitely a tightrope walk. Yeah, for any author trying to educate through fiction. But what Warshaw seems to do really well is embed those lessons, not as like explicit morals shouted from a rooftop, but through character choices and their consequences. Her characters, they're diverse, they're smart, but crucially, they aren't brave because they have no fear. That wouldn't feel real.
No, that'd be boring, actually.
Exactly. They're brave because they choose things like truth, loyalty, resilience, even when everything's against them. And when characters face real danger and still choose to act positively, that lesson hits home way harder than if it were just stated plainly. It's learning by immersion, not instruction, which is super effective for young adults, who are right in the thick of figuring out who they are and what they believe.
And she pushes that immersion idea even further, doesn't she? She's creating this entire universe around the stories. We're talking songs, apps, games, merchandise. She says, and I really like this quote, "I'm not just writing books. I'm building a world where teens can learn, feel seen, and believe in their power to make a difference." That's rare and powerful. Well, this isn't just storytelling anymore. It's like world building in the biggest sense. What do you think the deeper effect is of going beyond just the book?
That's a really important point. It definitely amplifies those themes of empowerment we were just talking about. A multi-platform world isn't just extra entertainment. It shifts things from passive consumption to active engagement. By creating this immersive experience, across different media, Warshaw makes sure her message isn't just stuck on the page. It lets readers interact with the ideas, the characters, on so many levels. They can feel seen, recognize their own power. It resonates much deeper than just a standalone book could. It's like she's creating this living ecosystem for her ideas where readers actually become participants in the world she's built.
So it's active participation, not just passive reading. But are there unique challenges when you're trying to build and, importantly, maintain such a big multi-platform thing, like keeping everything consistent? Creative control.
Oh, absolutely. Huge challenges. While it's incredibly powerful, managing a whole universe across different formats, books, apps, games, whatever, that takes serious logistical and creative juggling, you need meticulous planning, a really strong vision to keep the narrative threads consistent.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then there's creative control, like you said. If you bring in different teams for, say, an app or a game, you inevitably give up some direct artistic oversight, even if you set the core vision. So it really speaks to her dedication that she takes on, that complexity. She's clearly putting that immersive reader experience first, ahead of a maybe simpler, more traditional author path.
Okay, so moving from the huge universe she's building down to the actual words on the page. Warshaw has this really profound take on what makes good writing. She says, good writing starts with the heart. If the writer doesn't feel something, the reader won't either. It sounds so simple, but
wow,
it's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
But how does a writer, especially in genres like adventure or mystery, keep that emotional core strong while still delivering on, plot twists and suspense?
That's the constant dance, isn't it? Between the craft, the technique, and that genuine emotion. If you look at the elements she lists as key: authentic characters, emotional truth, a strong voice, pacing and purpose, and that sense of mystery and wonder. You see how she consciously lines up her craft with her mission. Authentic characters, they're the pipeline for emotional truth, right? We connect with people, not just plot points. And if the writer truly feels what their characters are going through, that feeling comes across. It makes the adventure mean something more. For Warshaw, that mystery and wonder element, when it's tied to a clear purpose, it does more than just entertain. It pulls the reader in, engages their curiosity, and maybe even their sense of agency. They're not just watching, they're invited to figure things out, to understand, maybe even apply it. It's a really purposeful way to tell a story.
And she's very clear about who she's writing for. She really stresses that she always has teens and young adults in mind, weaving in those life lessons, moments of courage, and maybe most importantly, that feeling that they matter, that their voice, their choices, their future, it's all powerful. It sounds like a very empathetic approach.
It absolutely is. It's both empathetic and, strategic. She gets that emotional truth isn't just about making a character sad or happy. It's about making their struggles, their wins, feel real and relatable to what a young person might be going through. And by constantly reinforcing that their voice and choices matter, she's tapping right into the core needs and questions of her audience during those formative years. Reading becomes almost an act of self-discovery, of affirmation.
Okay, now let's talk about the origin story for The Obsidian Eye, because this is one of those moments that sounds like pure creative lightning. She said she just woke up one morning with the entire story basically fully formed in her head, just wouldn't let go. And she'd never even written fiction before, but something just told her she had to write it down. So she literally locks herself in a room for 3 days, tells everyone, even the dogs, to leave her alone, just wrote, and boom, The Obsidian Eye. What does it tell you about intense creative inspiration?
Yeah, that story really captures that feeling of creative urgency, doesn't it? That almost irresistible pull to get an idea out into the world. It shows how those big creative bursts often demand total focus, like a complete break from the everyday noise. For Warshaw, clearly this energy of the story, as she put it, just took over everything else.
Yeah.
It really speaks to a kind of artistic integrity where the story's own momentum guides the process. And even though she's also an entrepreneur managing this whole universe, she specifically says, the story always comes first when I'm writing, which is a pretty strong statement about artistic priority. It's a good reminder that even with deadlines and business stuff, that initial creative spark sometimes just needs pure, undivided attention.
And speaking of the business side, she seems really pragmatic about literary criticism, which is kind of refreshing. She just says, I learned from it. I've only been writing fiction since 2024, and I'm always willing to learn. That's such a great mindset, isn't it? A real lifelong learner.
Totally. No ego there, just openness.
Right. And she's also a huge fan of audiobooks.
Yeah.
Says there's just something powerful about hearing a story unfold through voice. She's even excited about potentially doing these immersive audio adaptations of her own books, not just someone reading, but something that feels like stepping into the story itself. Given her whole world-building vision, what might that even look like? Immersive audio.
Oh, that's exciting to think about. When she says stepping into the story, not just narration, it makes you think of something maybe more like audio drama, but maybe deeper. You could imagine really rich soundscapes that put you right there in ancient Israel, distinct voices for every character, layered background sounds, maybe even, I don't know, interactive bits where choices affect what you hear.
Wow.
It fits perfectly with her goal of making it multisensory. For someone so focused on emotional truth and really immersing the audience, audio is another powerful tool to deepen that connection. It lets the story unfold right inside your head with so much more sensory detail.
Let's dig into the symbolism now, specifically behind the title.
Yeah.
The Land of Promise, the Seven Seals. There's a lot packed in there. The Land of Promise, she explains, is Israel. A place just steeped in history, prophecy, hope. But it's more than just a location on a map. It symbolizes a journey, right? Toward purpose, identity, truth. And for Sisterhood Sleuths, it's this place full of ancient secrets, spiritual feelings, but also very real modern danger. A place where finding hidden things is worth the fight.
Yeah, and then you layer on the seven seals. If we connect that to the bigger picture, it pulls directly from biblical prophecy. Those seals are all about revelation, judgment, unveiling hidden truths. So in her story, they become this potent metaphor for unlocking the knowledge that this group, the society, has kept buried for ages. Every seal they find peels back another layer of lies, revealing big truths not just about conspiracies, but about humanity, belief, destiny, heavy stuff. So when you put the whole title together, The Land of Promise, the Seven Seals, it points right to the core themes: faith, mystery, legacy, and just the raw courage needed to uncover what powerful forces want hidden. It's about the act of revealing and the tough journey that often involves.
That mix of history and sort of prophetic metaphor feels incredibly rich. How do you think themes that deep and symbolic land with a modern YA audience, especially today with so much information, so many competing stories out there?
That's a really good question. I think in a time where truth itself can feel kind of shaky or hard to pin down, stories that frame the pursuit and protection of truth as something heroic, that becomes really powerful. The biblical references, while specific, they tap into these universal ideas of quests of revelation. That makes the story work even if you don't know the original source material inside out. It kind of validates that instinct young people have to look for deeper meaning, to question what they're told, and to feel like some truths are worth fighting for even in this noisy world. It offers a kind of moral compass within this exciting fictional setting.
Okay, finally, let's get to what I think is one of the most compelling parts of this whole deep dive. Cathy Warshaw's own incredible life story. She's remarkably open about her past, describes herself as, a struggling student, introverted, shy, no clear direction, lots of trial and error. Said she really didn't see the possibilities back then. How does someone get from that description to the kind of powerhouse she clearly is now?
Her journey is just, wow. It's such a testament to resilience, to adaptability. That past she describes, the trial and error, it didn't limit her. It seems like it actually forged her ability to pivot and learn. I mean, look at the list. Lived in Israel, helped open a Hilton hotel, owned a restaurant in West Hollywood, launched one of the first online dental management programs, founded several nonprofits, gets certified as a life coach for teens at 62, and now at 73, she's a successful author and songwriter. It is truly an extraordinary life.
Right.
But the key is, it wasn't some straight line. It's like a mosaic, right? Built piece by piece by just grabbing opportunities and learning from absolutely everything.
It really sounds less like some grand master plan and more like Just a sequence of deliberate, brave choices. She has this amazing quote about it. You don't need a perfect past to build a powerful future. You just need to say yes to the next step. What does that actually mean, though? Saying yes to the next step, especially if you feel kind of stuck or lost?
Well, I think that quote basically sums up our entire philosophy. Saying yes to the next step. It's not about having the whole 10-year plan perfectly mapped out. Not at all. It's about realizing that growth, that finding your purpose, often comes from the small decisions, from just moving forward incrementally. It means being open to things that might not even seem directly related to some big goal, but they offer a chance to learn something new, to grow, to contribute somehow. For anyone feeling stuck, it's such a powerful idea. It counters that feeling of needing to make the perfect choice or the fear of making the wrong one. It takes off the pressure of perfection and just gives you the freedom to keep moving, to stay curious. It's about finding the courage to experiment, really, and trusting that each step, no matter how small it feels, is building momentum towards something worthwhile. And that connects directly back to you, the listener, right? To your own potential for figuring things out, no matter where you're starting from or what limits you think you have.
What a journey indeed. From describing herself as a struggling student to becoming this visionary world builder who's inspiring so many people, Cathy Warshaw really embodies that power of taking an unconventional path to find purpose. Her insights on truth, on empowerment through stories, on the heart of creativity, it's all just deeply illuminating.
Absolutely. Cathy Warshaw really shows us that being an author, true authorship, it's not just about putting words on a page. It's about building entire worlds, empowering futures, and having the courage to uncover hidden truths, both in the stories we tell and maybe even more importantly in our own lives. She reminds us that our own stories are built not just on big dreams, but on the simple courage to take that very next step, even when we can't quite see the whole path ahead. So maybe something to think about is, what truth might you be brave enough to seek out in your own world? Or what unexpected next step might be waiting for you on your own unique path to purpose? Something to consider as you keep building your own extraordinary life, one courageous step at a time.
You've just heard the voice behind the vision. Now it's your turn to step inside her world. Go to sisterhoodsleuths.net right now to claim the free books, the VIP passes, the exclusive merch, and the insider updates that keep you closer to the action than ever before. The rope comes down soon. Get in while the lights are still bright.